I mean, at what point is it okay to discriminate against people and say, no, you have a $1,500 Social Security check, that's not good enough. You can't come here. And when they couple that with, control at the border to say, no, you're not going to get 6 months anymore. Something Mexico like doesn't really want you. Which brings me to this. Mexico has just doubled the entry requirements. They've just doubled entry requirements. We've seen this so many times from so many countries, it's not even funny. This is like predictable now.
Panama did it.
Panama did it. They had to backtrack. Mexico's doing it. They've just doubled the amount of income someone has to show to get residency. And the amount of money they got to show, it's just going higher and higher. What goes through these people's minds when they change these regulations? It's like total financial discrimination. It's like you got to have almost $3,000 now as a single person just to get residency in Mexico. Most Social Security checks aren't that much. And don't forget that the upper middle class income salary in Mexico is still $1,500. So do they really want you? I mean, it's like, do these places really, really want you? It seems like these places really, it's like the vested interests are who's running these policies. Because according to them, if they keep raising the amount of money, if they keep raising the bar on how much money people have to show, the way they see it, they think their cash registers are going to just go ka-ching, 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 and they're just going to roll in more money. But the exact opposite is true. While it is true that those that have that amount will be able to afford higher prices, less and less people will be able to qualify. And may not be super evident at first, but there's going to be an attrition ratio there, where slowly, little by little, the people that are getting weeded out by the higher and higher requirements start trickling out. And we've said in other videos that the people with more money and the most money are the most picky. And you don't mix, in our opinion, in our experience, picky wealth with developing country. It just doesn't mix. It's not a mix. They can force it, they can try it, they can push it, but sooner or later, they end up leaving. Yeah, we've seen it before. Panama did it, but the attraction for Panama was twofold. It wasn't just the typical retire abroad expat thing that was drawing people there, you know, the weather, the prices. It was the low tax thing. But Mexico has no such thing. Mexico doesn't have a low tax thing. And a lot of these places, Brazil, they don't have a low tax thing. So once they start raising, what I'm saying is once they start raising these requirements, the motivation to keep on going there for people is getting diminished. Because that's what happened in Portugal. They had a tax exemption going on. So they didn't just have the pull to go to Portugal. It was twofold. It was a twofold thing when people go abroad. It was just the quality of life, let's say. You know, that includes the cost of living, the extent of a good life, and the weather and all these things. But then there's the tax thing too, and that brings in the bigger money, you know, the wealthier, and they go for the tax savings. And so then what happens when you start weeding out people in the lower brackets, and what you get is what happened in Portugal, this huge bubble that spirals out of control, and the locals can no longer afford to live there, and it just spirals into a whole cycle, which we've talked about many times, which we don't want to go into right here. And so that's starting to happen in Mexico. And I know that people have gone to Mexico forever. We first went to Mexico in the 80s. And we went to Puerto Vallarta. We loved it. We enjoyed it. We enjoyed our 2-week vacation. We went back 2 or 3 different times, and we enjoyed it. But back then it was literally, it was cheap. But they don't really want you. It's like at some point they start showing their colors where do they really want you there? I mean, at what point is it okay to discriminate against people and say, no, you have a $1,500 Social Security check, that's not good enough. You can't come here. And when they couple that with, control at the border to say, no, you're not going to get 6 months anymore. You're going to get 15 days because we want to encourage you. See how inconsistent this is? We want to encourage you to get residency, but at the same time, we're gonna double the financial requirements. So that makes no sense. So you tell people, no, you can't come here, back-to-back tourism. Why not? People drop their money, spend their money. What's wrong with that? Well, anyway, no, we want to encourage you to be a resident. Oh, okay, that's fine. That's fine. Let's do that. Well, we're going to raise it now. Well, it was $1,300. Well, now it's now it's $2,200. Now we're changing it again. Oh, it's $2,700. Oh, first it was $20,000 you had to show in the bank. Now it's $40,000. Now it's $140,000. For permanent residency. I mean, where does it end? I mean, just a big. And I think again, I think that's who's pushing the policy is the vested interest. And I think all they see is dollar signs.
And this happened just like in the last 3 years. It's not like over
it's not over a 20-year period or something. It's not an inflation thing. It's just all within the last couple of years. The price is literally just going higher and higher and higher. And I don't know. It's like, I think that there's so much movement in the world now that you wonder if some of these countries are just saying, look, there's just too many people coming here. But who's to say that there are too many people coming here?
Mexico loves the tourism.
At what point does a country get to say there's too many people coming here? If people are normal people, I'm not saying, when you say people, we're not talking about criminals, defined as those that hurt their neighbor, thieves and robbers and con men. We're talking about just average normal people that pay rent, buy food, go to restaurants, just an average citizen. Who's to say when there are too many of them? I mean, if I haven't done the study on this, but I mean, with this conversation could go all over the place because then you get into sustainability. But for most people, if business is good, they're happy. More people coming, more people spending money, more people eating out in restaurants, more people buying home repair supplies, vehicles, gas, blah, 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 clothing. Business people are happy. People get funny ideas. Well, there's too many people coming. Oh, well, let's just start weeding out the ones that don't make $3,000. Well, $3,000 might not sound like that much if you're coming from a place or a neighborhood where everyone earns $6,000 to $10,000. But in a place where most people earn, they're lucky to earn $1,000, $3,000 is a lot. A lot. I mean, families in Mexico, they can have 2 earners and still only earn, if they have good jobs, $2,000. To say you can't come here, a single person, at $2,700, that's just for one person. If you have a family, that goes up. And so never mind, maybe you're real smart about living well, Some people are just better at it than others, Some people are just better at the retire early life, which are what our channel and our videos are all about. Some people are just better at it. I mean, these people aren't, you can't really say anything about these people to say they're undesirable. It's like there's no difference between a guy that can show $3,000 or $4,000 a month and a guy that can show $1,000 a month. There's no difference unless you're judging people. I mean, if a guy, with more money gets to say, well, I get to eat at a $25 or $50 restaurant, great, good for you. The other guy goes to a $5 restaurant, great, you know, there are restaurants in the $5 range, you know, they are happy when they get customers. Everybody's happy. It's win-win. What's wrong? What's the problem? Well, I don't see a problem. Why do people see a problem that they think they need to fix it and start discriminating against other people based on these kinds of cockamamie, whacked out kind of ideas? I don't, you know. Okay, well, anyway. All right, well, I hope you got something out of that, and have a nice day.